Hey everyone, welcome. Episode 30, 300, 3000, whatever it might be. We're making it happen. We talked about personalities and preferences. There are at least 8 at the table right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because we vacillate between who we are and who we want to be and who other people desire us to do. I know that means to go back and forth, Bryce. All right, fellas. So I guess initial thoughts. There's obviously we don't have to recap the entire message, but there's probably points that stuck out to you this weekend that you listened to and you're like, "Ooh, the 10 areas are funny." I get not. Yeah, they're funny.
I felt attacked.
That might say
Kyle, did you feel that way?
No. It was funny sitting next to Christy during it and doing the elbow thing. Like, oh, yeah. This is you, this is me, this is you. And we did it last night at our marriage seed group. We, as a group, went through each 10, and each couple got to say what they thought they were. And
oh, gotcha.
It was funny. And we actually had to reach out to Matt for some clarity on
10, right?
10, motivation, just a little more clarity of what tasks and people mean. But it was cool to see, like,
differences,
and each couple would start it by saying, like, well, it kind of depends, and then the other one was like, no, it doesn't depend, this is you. What do you naturally defer to and go towards? And so that was fun. It was like a good little icebreaker for the group of, like, going around and going through each one of them.
Yeah. Any surprise for you on that list? And you can probably pinpoint a lot of people in those 10 areas, and you can determine those things determine a lot of their personality, right? Of how they do things, right? Because personality is just a lens at which you look through things, right? You're processing. It's essentially personality is your worldview of how things should operate, what you are to do in them, and how you are to handle situations. So I think those 10 areas of preferences heavily affect your personality. But
I think the conversation that was interesting with me and Christy, because we did it Sunday night after church together, and then did it again in front of the group everything. And so we've had a lot of dialogue back and forth. But the number 7, independence, emotional need or connectiveness, that just sparked good conversation of for me, it's like, Christy always says, this is a us thing. Like, when we get to go do the laundry, we get to go to the store together. And I think in that, like, conversation, it's like, yeah, if I have the choice to go do some mundane thing with Christy, I'm going to do that. Like, I'm going to move stuff around to make that happen. Where Christy's a lot more of, like, I love doing things with you, but I don't need to. I can get things done and be okay. Not like us doing it together. Like, let's go the grocery shopping. You go to this store and I'll go to this store, and let's get it done faster. And I'm like, well, we could just go to both and, like, spend time together, kind of thing.
Task versus people.
Yeah. And so it blended into that number 10 too. And it's just like, and didn't walk away feeling like, oh, Christy doesn't want to spend time with me. Like, she like just has, like, a different way of looking at how to tack something and get it done. And, like, and for me, it's like, if we can make it a we thing, I'm about that. Let's do that. And, but then talking to her on her side, like, objective wise, I don't need you to get something done to get it done. But on an emotional level, like, I need to know, like, you're there for me. I need to know you're checking in on me. And I need to know that if I have a problem, I can go to you on the emotional level. But on the everyday, mundane thing, like, if we have to get stuff done separately, that's okay. Like, I don't.
What would be something in that emotional level that you need that connectedness? Right, because that's the connectedness one?
Yeah. I think with Christy, like, the way she kind of laid it out is, like, 56 hours a week, she has to do everything alone and, like, taking care of the kids and, like, when I'm at work and stuff. And I think when I get to come back, like, me touching base with her on that emotional level, like, how was the 48 hours? Like, how was the time that I was away at work? Like, where do you need me to offload things emotionally? Like, what if you had to go be a single mom? Whatever, it's not that. But where can I come in and emotionally meet you of, like, how it's been since I've been gone?
Yeah, you may not have to do anything. It may just be connected, like conversation.
Like, I'm here in this space with you now. Like, you've been talking to 2 girls under 10 and my dad over 70. Like, I mean, like, we're
Same thing. Or?
yeah, exactly. So,
Paul, we love you.
yeah, we love Paul. Papa P.
Papa P.
So yeah, it was great. Like the time with Christy, we did the first 2 questions Sunday night together, and they went way longer than we thought. So that was great. Good problem. And then Monday morning, we got to finish the next 3 together over a coffee date. And then do them all over again at group with a bunch of people talking it through. So it was fun.
Yeah. Phil and Bryce, anything that stood out to you from the entire message, like something that put a tool in your tool belt or give you some insight on something in your own marriage? Don't talk about other people. Talk about yourself.
Thinking about like what Kyle said, and like the 2 needs and like emotional needs, and like because me and Jordan are opposite. Like I'm the task oriented. I'm like, we need to get these done, and like it's not because I don't want to spend time with her, because she wants to be part of those things. But I'm like, I wanted to get these things done so I can spend time with you. But then also, I think what I was thinking was, man, I get to fulfill that need in her, and I'm the only one that gets to do that. And so instead of getting like frustrated with that, I'm just like really seeing like what you're saying, where it's like, how can I meet that need in spending time with you during those tasks? Not seeing it as like, oh, well, I want to do this, but seeing her as like, I'm fulfilling a need that she has that she wants from me. And so I don't know. That's what I was thinking about that.
I'll be your Jordan. Just
Yeah, fill our needs. We're friends too. Jordan, you're not that important compared to us. I'm just kidding, Jordan. We love you. Bryce, just as a fun fact for guys, they actually have studies show that men actually have a higher emotional need for friendship than most women do.
I believe that one.
Bryce is 100% belief in it. We won't voice it as much, but I think if we're honest with each other, Bryce will. But I think that's the big thing is like, we want to be known. We want to belong. We want to matter, right? That's a phrase that we use a lot.
Think about it. Like if we were to be real and honest about like, there are things, right, that we can't honestly take to our wives. Maybe we could word vomit on them and let them be a soundboard. But at the end of the day, like,
which we think you should.
Yeah, like, and there could be a healthy boundary to it. But I know the emotional person I am, I'm gonna go off the hinge, and Haley's gonna say, "What's wrong with you? Like what just came out of your mouth?" Well, that's just how, one, I express myself, and 2, I'm like that's how my brain processes it. However you say
Thinks about it.
And she's not always going to be the best. Like, she'll give me the lovey-dovey answer and maybe some hard truth or whatnot to it. But to that, I'm like, it's not going to be what I always need. Like, there's times where she's great about it. But then there's times where I'm like, yeah, I need to take this to the dudes. Like, I need a bro answer. I need a man answer. I need maybe a punch in the jaw, spiritually, metaphorically, whatever that
Physically.
looks like, right? Like, and my wife can't deliver that every time. So, like, when I think about, like, if I can't be the only dude out there who goes through that, thinks that, ponders that, right? I may do it more than the average dude, I don't know, but I'm like, to think that there are dudes out there who are like, I don't need no help, I got this all by myself. I'm like, there's a reason Jesus chose 12 people. Like, that's the story I always go back to and tell myself, right? And so I'm like, to think that one person thinks that they could do it alone, right? Like, and I always think back to a message you gave years ago, Matt, of like, if you could put up one hand and you have 5 people in your life that you can count on, you are more blessed than the average person, right? And like, most people don't have that. Which blows my mind, because I'm like, and call it codependent, I don't know. Like, this whole, where was it? The number 7, right? Independence, emotional need, connectedness. Like, I am a very, like, dependent people on, in the regards of, like, processing my thoughts with you guys, whatnot, thinking before I speak. Like, you guys are my soundboard in that regard. Haley is that for me. Like, left to my own demise, I'm offending everybody, right? And like, I've just learned, like, and I've maybe I've gotten better. I don't know. You guys tell me. But like, yeah, doing life alone sucks. So I'm like, nope, I'm going to use and take advantage and try to grow like in all that of like bringing people in, because my life has only benefited from it than not. So I'm like, why not?
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. And all the personalities and preferences obviously line up into those 5 points for everything. God's design, universal brokenness, common redemption, unique gifting, and mutual encouragement. And I just think it's maybe a shot at the bullseye target of like seeing that we have so many differences and so many preferences, but at the end of the day, like how do you fit these in? How do you fit those into these 5 areas? And I just think it gives space for mercy, right? If I mess up towards Kyle has an opportunity to demonstrate God's love for me by receiving it himself, but also, actually putting it into play, I guess you might say. But he also can say, Matt, you are really good at X, Y, Z, and I'm good at, F, J, K, or whatever, and seeing that we need and can bounce off of each other. So I think in essence, this whole message is about a give and take thing, seeing who's better at it and just going, hey, we're not bowing our knee to the ground and putting our nose to the floor and say, oh, mighty wife, oh, you're so great. And they're not bowing down, oh, mighty husband, no, we're not doing that. We're just saying, hey, biblically, you're better at this. And I need to learn. I don't just take a back seat. That's one thing I didn't say this weekend. I don't just take a back seat and say, well, you're better at this, then you just do it. No, I need to learn how they operate and why they do that. And like, can you teach me to do that? Because you want to be well-rounded and you want to be grounded in what you can do, but also you can teach an old dog new tricks. You can learn to fold the laundry the way that she folds. You can learn to, hey, be on time. You can learn to emotionally sit across your spouse and connect with them. I think Kyle uses the phrase knee to knee. Like, how many times do couples do that? And we don't care if it's knee to knee. Maybe you're sitting side to side, but you need to learn how to do those things. And that's kind of where next week is leading. But
I think you do a good job. And Kyle, I think I've seen you grow in this as well, of like really pulling this out of people also and like helping them see those areas. Like I know like between the marital counseling and having couch time with the Flores is of like, we're at each other, bickering, at each other's necks. And it's like, hey, like you understand like what you're calling out is their strong suit. What you're getting offended by or taking offense by is their strong suit. Do you see that? And helping people see that in each other? Because that's where I'm like, in a lot of this, right? Like knowing Haley and I are complete opposite, like coming alongside you guys and being like, hey, like this is her strong suit. How do you lean into that, Bryce? Mm-hmm. How do you balance that or help bring that out even more? I think being able to have people in your life and them see that, right? I don't know if it was you or somebody else I had heard this from, but it's like it's hard to see the picture when you're the one inside the frame. Mm-hmm. And so to think that you can't do life with others to help you see that and bring that in, like I think that's pivotal in walking and making marriage work as well. Because if you're constantly going to be combating their strong suit, like it's exhausting, right?
Yeah, you're losing at that point.
And so it's like, I think being able, again, you guys are really good at like seeing that and calling that out or up. And like, I know it's helped me be like, oh, I don't need to. How do I contribute to this with her? And same with her for me, like loud voice, strong personality, whatever that may be. Like, I'm not coming at Haley, right? It's just I'm just being me. I'm just talking. I'm just And she's like, oh, he's excited, right? It's something I always hear you tell her, Haley. He's just excited, right? And so like her learning that has helped her and me make this work better, So I think having those people to be able to do that, like, makes sense why the divorce rates are so high, because people hide and keep to themselves, and we don't talk about our problems, and you don't even realize what you think are your problems are just your strong suits not colliding or mixing like they should, like. So.
Yeah, and I think the questions of the week were really great to dive into, and that goes to that first question is, what are some consistencies in your spouse's personality and preferences that you can admire, adore, and thank God for? And it's like acknowledging those out loud to one another of what you see in them, and like where you are strong and where I am weak, and where I'm willing to not give up the reins, but like let you do what you're good at and I'm not, and like I think that backseat thing is huge, though, of like, that's where we as spouses and even just followers of Christ can get complacent and like, well, you're good at that, so I'm just going to let you do that, and I'm not going to grow in what it means to be
patient.
Yeah, patient or whatever the personality trait is. It doesn't mean that you get to be content with being 100% on one side. Like, we should strive to be a little more in the middle of all of those things. And if your spouse is on the other side of the spectrum, I think it's God putting that person in your life to balance you out and to like project you towards, again, the aim is Christ, not your spouse and what your spouse is doing. But together, the aim is to get closer to what it looks like to be Christ-like in your marriage and in your relationships and in your responses and your preferences and your personalities, right?
Yeah.
It's not to be content with where you are. It's to be like, no, the target is Christ, and how can we together reach that?
That's good. Do you think that there is a place, I was trying to think and process this as you were talking about that, like looking at the admiration, the adoration, the thankfulness for God in your spouse. And you said that Christ is a measurement and the mark. Do you see personalities in that 1 Corinthians 13 passage, or personality or preferences, really? Like, I guess both personalities and preferences, right? Love is patient. Love is kind. Love holds no record of wrongs. It does not rejoice. Like, do you guys see that as a personality thing? Because that's the measurement, right? God is love. So love is, you can replace obviously the name of love or the word love with the name of God, name of Jesus. And if that's the aim, then that's a personality thing. That's a preference. That's a prestigious identity for an individual. If that's the goal, and Kyle's telling us that's the goal, then I don't get to take a back seat when it says love is patient. Well, you're just more patient. You go deal with them. No, I need to lean in and take on Christ's character in this moment. Or my wife is really grinding my gears. Perfect. It's an opportunity for you to demonstrate. Pick one. I don't know how many are in there, 13, maybe 14 things. Does that make sense? Does that question make sense to you guys? Or do you see those as personality things?
Traits.
Yeah, maybe that's a better word.
Traits need to be applied, better applied, learned.
And tell us where you suck at it. How about that? That's right. If you ever got a question, I think we talked about that this weekend, right? I brought that up somewhere. I don't know, maybe in my brain. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. We're designed to have the same care for one another how God has cared for us. Yeah. So there it goes. And that's really what it is. And I guess my question would be, is it a personality thing? Is it a preference? But also, when you don't do those things, are you simply just black and white? Are you telling them, I don't love you? I don't love you like Christ does.
Or I don't love Christ. Right? When people choose this and they're like, nope, I can never forgive. You're like, ooh, that's not Christ-like. Like, it's a hard issue at that point that you get to help lean into, right? And then you're like, oh, you've never been able to walk through this hurt or whatever, this experience, biblically, lovingly with somebody, right? And that's the cool part of, like, helping people get there.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, like, it's funny, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, this is totally you. And she's like, it's totally you. And I'm like,
oh, you guys should have seen from my perspective. It's like the whole crowd was moving back and forth. And I'm like, do you guys need some? I thought about stopping the service. Like, do you guys need some time to talk about these things? Because this is going to be awesome. So I hope you're doing the homework. But Phil, we haven't heard from you yet. What are you thinking? What are you processing about this message about personalities and preferences inside your personal relationship with Christ?
Man, there's just so many things. I know, like, one of the things I was thinking about was Bryce in the picture analogy, and like how maybe not because we're in the picture, but like we're focusing on an imperfection of the picture, and you're so close to it, and like we need the people to in our sphere of influence to pull us back and be like, hey, this isn't, like, you're focusing on one little thing, and you're when you're so close, it makes it your world as far as what our spouses do wrong. But when you pull back, like, what is she doing well? But then also, like what you're saying with like, are they preferences? Are they what's the other word you said? Personalities. Yeah, I think, I mean, God calls us to those. So like do the hard thing. It's easy to point out faults in others, but when we look at ourselves, we're like, oh, what do I suck at? that I need to change because God called us to that. And I don't know if this is where you're going, but why my mind was thinking of was like, who cares what it is? God called us to change. So like, or God calls us to that. And if we're not that, then we have to, I mean, if we love him, we'll obey him. That's what the Bible says, not us. So it's not, if you have a problem with that, it's not on us, it's the Bible. And so like seeing that where it's like, yeah, I need to be a better, like you've helped me and Jordan through the fights we've had. And, all of you guys have. And so like, that's the cool thing where I feel like I'm slowly learning, as dumb as I am, where I'm like, I love this woman. And like, yes, she needs correcting, but so do I. And like, how do I love her through that and not just focus on those faults, but see like, hey, this is the wife that God has given me. Like, how am I going to love her better?
It's good.
So I don't know.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing of like just finding your weakness and going, God, will you help me in this? Right. Because I think even with the definition of a preference and a personality preference is just a greater liking for one alternative over the other.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you have to stay in that preference.
Well, even to that, right? Like that growing in or like asking God for help. And he's like, I'm so glad you asked. Let me introduce you to your wife.
Yeah.
Or let me introduce you to your husband, right?
Who is someone that I could tell you about?
Yeah. Like if anyone else, like think about the person who intimately knows us the best.
Yeah.
Right? Who has that vantage point that no one else has. Right? And it's like for us to shut that down the moment they give correction is silly because you said it. Your spouse was given to you by God, and if you try to turn them into your version of you spit in God's face saying, I can do better. So it's like he gave us our spouses for the purpose of sharpening, right? For the purpose of correction, for the purpose of guiding. I think sometimes we get in this idea of like, well, I'm the leader. The sheep can't correct me, or the people I'm leading can't. And it's like, no, like that thought is so foolish and so misleading. And we'll lead all right, but we'll lead off a cliff blindly.
Yep.
Right. And so it's like, we
just work with it. Work with it. In closing, what's something that you want to share with them about personalities? Because personalities are a pattern, right? You're going to see patterns in people all the time. And it usually comes obviously from their preferences and how they're looking at it. But what's something inside of this that you would encourage husbands and wives or relationships of what do you need to do with your personality, or maybe what do you need to check in your personality? You might start with yourself.
Ask that again one more time.
Like, what do you need to do with your personality, or what do you need to check in it to help your marriage grow, to help your relationships grow?
I can speak personally, like I said, with the ways you guys helped me up with fights in my marriage, where it's like, is it a pride thing or is it a biblical thing? Or like, is it, you say it good, how does it look like in the something of eternity? I can't remember. In the light of it, in the grand scheme of things, yeah. And I think that's where I can start with me, where it's like making little things into big things, and I think that's where I would have to check myself, if that's what you're talking about. Or,
yeah, it's good. Yeah, kind of that mountain out of a molehill thing. Gotcha. You two amigos?
There's a lot I got to check myself on before I wreck myself. I am an emotional rolling ball, so I definitely, if I'm not careful, I know I could easily lead or be led by my feelings. Whether that's at work, whether that's in my marriage, in any aspect. Like my first, like, warning sign are feelings, right? So I know I have to check those biblically, scripturally, grand scheme of eternity. Is there any validity to this? Any correction I need, any ownership I need in that regard? Soundboard, right? Go, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm processing, this is what I'm feeling, because my flesh, I've always acted on. I feel angry, I'm going to throw a fist. I feel angry, I'm going to splurt out an insult. I feel sad, I'm gonna get defensive, right? So I've always acted, most of my life, I would think, very reactively because of my emotions. So checking that and saying, nope, like, I don't get to flare out like a child who's not getting what they want, right? Seeking that clarity, seeking that better understanding. The book. Oh wait, not this book. Well, a book that the authors that you keep referencing, Out of Love and Respect, right? Choosing to see through a positive lens, a mutual lens of whom I'm speaking to and with. Of, okay, did they mean to insult me? Well, what do I do if I'm uncertain? Hey, something you have taught us. The story I'm telling myself is this. Is there any truth to that? Right? And allowing them to answer the thought and the assumption that my flesh and feelings want to run with and go, no, not at all, not at all. Perfect. It puts at ease the neural waves and the synapses sparking off going, react.
Enemy.
Yeah. Right? To calm down and allow myself to, okay, perfect. Thank you. And so like, there's a lot of work in this knucklehead here of how that goes. So I think that's the check and the realization of like also knowing too how I engage with others who are not like me. I think that's been the biggest learning thing, definitely the last 6 months, but 6 to probably 18 months of like, how do I engage with people that are different from me? How do I get on their level, but also understand like it is my job to help call up and challenge and try to grow, right? Not change and not to be like me, right? Because the world knows we don't need two Bryces running around here, right? But how do I help use the skills and gifts and personality and preferences that God has blessed me with to help sharpen and admonish and bring up whether similar or not similar, but gifts nonetheless in others that God has also blessed others. So I think for me, like that's gauging and fine tuning that, because it is, especially in today's world where, let's be honest, like my preference is my reality. My preferences, my feelings, that's my world to a lot of people. Right. And so trying to say, hey, look, Jesus says, die to all that. And we're telling people to die to that and trying to help walk alongside them in how to be transformed by the renewing of their mind according to the scriptures, right? Not according to Bryce's opinions, not according to y'all's, but to what the scriptures say. And that takes, what I'm learning, very thoughtful, relational intentionality. So I don't know. It's a lot, sorry.
No.
Yeah, I think just to encapsulate all that, does my personalities and my preferences match what I see Christ's character to be? And I think that's just a self-reflection that all of us could be better in those moments of like enemy, or like say something, like respond is like, just like, I mean, wear it on our wrist, we see it, but like, what would Jesus do? Like, how would he respond to this? And again, does my preferences and personalities match Christ's in these moments? And also that self-reflection of like, what does Christ say about me? Like in those moments where you're fighting with your wife and like engaged with like an argument, or in those preferences and personalities, is like reminding yourself of what Christ has done for you can really slow it down. And like, this offense really isn't something that we should be like making World War III off of. I mean, in light of all of what Christ has done and forgiven me for, I can forgive you of this, and we can just not even go to where we're going right now.
Yeah.
And I think
not that great.
Here comes the cliff. Let's just turn.
But Christ provides that path of like pulling down your guard and like pulling down, like putting the sword away, putting the spear away of like, and again, it's in remembering all that, and remembering him, remembering his character, remembering how I just think of all the times he encounters people in their mess, and that he tells everyone around, like, pick up the stone if you've never sinned, and you be the first to throw the stone at this woman. Yeah. And then he continues the conversation with her and says, go and sin no more. Like, I have forgiven you of everything you've done to this point. Go and be better. And I think thinking of his face in those times, I think just helps us round out our personalities and preferences of dying to yourself. Yeah. And the renewing of your mind of what Christ has done and what he wants to do with you. It's a way better adventure and way more fun than when we get stuck in ourselves.
And I think if everyone in the world would slow down and do that, the atrocities, the riots, the social media posts, the this and that, and I'm right and you're wrong and you don't know the details, is like, Man, the only people who really know the truth are the people that were there in any situation. We're all trying to form opinions on it, but it's like, when faced with my own dilemma, am I going to be slow to speak? Am I going to be quick to listen? Am I going to go, what is the character of Christ? And just let that be. So that would be our recommendation, y'all. You're going to have your preferences, but you got to ask, are they of a heavenly mind? So hopefully that encouraged you this week. Thanks, guys, for doing so. Hey, you guys have a great week of worship. We will see you on Sundays. We continue on in Marriage Works. And have a great week of worship.
Wow.